See, a lot of this comes down to like their road frontage. We're live, everybody. Yeah, that right there, because of the way it is, the way it's structured, it's not going to be it's not going to be worth as much as if it was like a squared or rectangular piece of property. So this is like a long, odd shaped piece of property. So I don't know what that would be worth, young lady.
$0.
Zero. It's worth nothing. We'll just take it from them, okay? Tell them we'll take it off their hands for little to no money. Good Saturday morning, everybody. Hey, everybody. We're back. I feel like it's been a minute since we've been in here. Has it been a while, Noah? Noah, you know where you going, Andre? Will you bring me a water back?
3 waters.
Bring in the water. If you're on here, please do me a favor, like, comment, and share the stream. Also, we're fielding questions. Get your fact-finding game right. Does anybody in here understand or have a very good grasp of what fact-finding is?
What, why, when, how?
What are you trying to understand in the fact-finding game with somebody?
You're trying to understand somebody's problem and find them a solution for that, right?
Van is saying it in there, their dominant buying motive. Amanda, what's shaking, friend? How's everything going with you guys? Hey, we took a poll. Who here believes they know who the hardest working person, male or female, on our team is? Who would y'all say? Who would you say? The hardest one? No. Yeah, I know. But other than me, what agent is the hardest working agent? Who would you say?
Me.
Who would you say?
Probably the man.
Who would you say?
Me.
The consensus was Noah. Other than y'all not trying to give him credit. But here's what I want to tell you. Before I get into fact finding, I meant to talk about that this morning. But I do want to give you a shout out, Noah. You're earning the reputation as the hardest working dude on the team. That does not mean Noah's getting the most results right now. So here's where the storm happens. When you're putting in the work like Noah's putting in and the results don't come, what do you think the first thing that most people start thinking? What does their emotion tell them?
To quit putting in the work.
That's right. Say what? This ain't for me. This don't work. But I've started studying people like our boy Q. And if you look at what he did, he came in and the dude was making 200 phone calls a day. Yesterday was Q's first day off since he started in real estate. It was his first day off. And he put in there, he was closing 32 homes in June. Is that sick? That's insane. But if you go back, hello, Fejo, are you in there? Did you find Fernando? Then if you look at Q's story, his first 2 to 3 months, do you know what his hard work produced? Nothing. So it's more important to pay attention to your focus than your results right now. I know that's this. You may not understand that, but when you're brand new, the results are coming. It's like this little momentum that's building. If you pay attention to the results too early, it could be it could be what's called false positive, where they wouldn't let me in. Josh couldn't get into Cardone's office. Send him a text or something. Send Fernando a text. False positive is when things are going your way that maybe you did not earn. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm saying? So the people that are putting in the work, like Q, we're using Q as an example. He kept making those phone calls and things weren't going his way, but he never stopped his commitment to these phone calls. Well, what started happening was he was talking to people, and at the time where he felt like no success was happening, he was actually building a pipeline. He was actually connecting with people. And then these people started, those little chips, those little dominoes started falling his way. And he never stopped. He still hasn't stopped his phone calls. First year in the business, he sold 106 homes. It doesn't even sound possible, does it? By himself. Do you believe? You don't believe it, do you?
It's hard to believe. With no one else, that's very hard to believe.
Danny Ward, I'm not sure if you're talking about sales or golf. It applies the same for both. It's the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Right, Lorema? It does not sound possible. You're right. But then yesterday, I called a gentleman by the name of Brad Elam. And Lorema, listen, Van didn't. He left to go to the bank, steal some money out of my account, I bet. Didn't you, Van? And I was asking Brad what his day looks like. And now, because of what he did early in the business, he's like, man, I don't really even prospect anymore. I don't call anymore. To be honest with you, Tommy, I just got all them people calling me up listing. They want me to come list my house. Well, what was it like? Fact-finding question. Brad, what was it like when you first got in there? Oh, I was at least making 7,500 calls a day. You know, he's a real country talker from Manchester. Nothing special, just a lot of courage, big old balls, and he just goes to work. That's what he does. His first few years in the business, he was just calling. That's all he was doing. And I remember Steven saw it over there. Like, if you ask Steven, do we have anybody like Brad, he's going to say no, but the closest we have would be Noah. Noah comes in, you grind, don't you?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, so is it frustrating? Was it frustrating to not get the results that you wanted at first?
It is.
How's it feeling now?
I mean, I'm starting to get, some things coming in, but I've really heard things like you're saying right now with, Dan or Brad and,
Q.
I'm just being patient. You just gotta be
Yep.
patient.
Yeah, well, you just got to fight through that feeling. But there was this guy back in the day. His name was, I can't remember, Albert. He was out in California. And at the time I met him, the time he was speaking, the dude was absolutely crushing it. And you see that guy that day, but what you don't see is that guy 5 years ago. That guy that worked his ass off, calling, door knocking, putting mailers out. And he said for 6 months, my first 6 months in the business, I didn't even sell a house. How hard would it be for you to come in, and I mean really work hard? Really work hard. I ain't talking about shooting basketball, getting my rebounds, us in here swinging golf clubs, but how hard would it be for you to keep fighting through failure every single day, coming in and doing the same thing and nothing to show for it? Everybody in your support system, everybody around you, would they encourage you to keep doing what you're doing after 6 months with zero success, or would they continue to believe in you?
You're doing something wrong, kid.
Either you're doing something wrong or you're in the wrong industry. They would say something like that. They would help you make sense of quitting. So I'm bringing examples to you guys that I want to inspire you, because the harder, the more that you're doing, I hate the term hard work. I hate that, because I really feel like coming here and calling people and doing that, that's not really hard work.
Well, do you think people, like going back, like if you're doing the same thing for 6 months, not making anything, do you feel like people feed off your attitude? Like if you came in and we're talking to someone like, hey, I've been doing this for 6 months, I sold shit, I feel like you get a different response to be like, hey, I've been working hard for 6 months, been doing this, I think it's really going to pay off later. I feel like you think people's attitudes are like, yeah, well, shit, keep doing what you're doing, you'll probably get a payday sometime.
Yeah, I believe the way you talk to yourself matters. I believe the way you're communicating with your inner self it's maybe the most important thing you can do, because I really struggled early on in the business whenever things didn't go my way. Like that dude, you're writing up that contract. Hey, it's about a month or two ago, and dude just ghosted you. Remember that guy? Yeah. It's happened to you. Dude over there in Cedar Retreat. Has it happened to you? Probably.
No, it ain't happened to me.
Has it? It happened to Shawan and Josh, the dude from Kentucky. Those things would have, because I was by myself. I was by myself, and when those things happened to me, it put me in about a 2 to 3 day rut. And when you get in a 2 to 3 day rut, it's really, really hard to get out of the rut and get back to where you should be. And bouncing back is a very, very crucial part of becoming like a big time player, getting over things. So I just wanted to bring special attention to Noah. Man, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to have different results. And it's like this multiplying effect that you don't even see presently. I don't see this happening for me. I don't see what's going on. And then Q, our boy Q, my new best friend over in Memphis, 32 homes in 1 month. We've never closed 32 homes in 1 month, and this dude did it by himself. Kind of eye-opening to me. Amanda, I feel like if you can go 6 months without a sale, you can go 6 more months. Structure your process, learn from the best, and make that sale. Thank you, Amanda. Today, what we're going to talk about now is the importance of getting into fact-finding with your clients. We've already asked the question, good things come to those who wait. Thank you for your contribution, Amanda. So I've already asked this question. Let me rephrase the question. Throughout the whole process, first off, if you're watching this, do you even have a sales process? You'd be amazed at how many people do not even have a sales process. Who in here can name how many steps are in our process?
7.
There's 7. What are they? Thane, can you type these in as we say them?
Yep.
Thank you very much. So Drew said there's 7 steps in our sales process. I bet you most people that ever watch this or people out there in sales, they don't have a process. They don't have a written, duplicatable process that they can do every single time. What is the first step in a process?
Greeting.
Number 1 would be our greeting. And what's the purpose of our greeting?
Introduce yourself, bring high energy, make yourself stand out from others with how you introduce yourself.
What is step number 2?
Fact find.
Fact finding. Drew's got him. Does anybody else know this, or does Drew? Do you know this?
Next is qualifying.
Let's. How important is fact finding in the process?
It's the most important.
The most important is not fact finding.
You can't solve the problem without fact finding.
Yeah, but what's some?
Can't make no money if you can't close.
Gotta close. Gotta close, man. Well, hold up. There's one dude here that don't even fact find. He just tells you what you're gonna do. He don't even matter. How does he close?
This is
You
it.
gonna
It's your
bring
only
this,
option.
we're gonna do this, we're gonna win this offer.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
So look, Weatherman just closes. Would you say he's a closer? But fact finding, the way I want it taught, because people can't be Weatherman. He's kind of our little anomaly that does it his way. But the purpose of fact finding is to find out that one thing that means everything. That dominant buying motive. The DBM. What's number 3? Let him say it.
Demonstrate. No, qualify. Fuck.
Said it.
I was moving a little too fast.
Okay, number 3 is qualifying. And qualifying, see, we were talking about this yesterday. It probably has not been explained well enough by me. There is a difference between fact finding and qualifying. Do you understand that? But too often for real estate people, they move into qualifying way too early because fact finding helps create the interest.
You're fact finding throughout the whole process.
You are fact finding throughout the whole process, says Drew. I agree 100% with that. But fact finding is where you find out what they're interested in, but it's also a way to build their interest and their urgency and for them to get clear. Qualifying is completely different from that because they pick their fact finding. They know what they want, but they're not in control of qualifying, are they? Though whether they're in control of it based off what they've done, but they can't just move around their qualifying. After they're qualified, their fact finding usually changes, or what they want usually changes. Dale Jr., other than yourself, who else? Dale Jr. is a salesperson from North Nashville, Ashland City, up in there in the Cheatham County area. And Dale Jr.'s been to this office before, but he moved down to Florida, I think to Miami. Then he moved to Tampa area, and now he's down in Key West. And he has done all of this. He owned a body shop up there in Cheatham County. He sold it, got into sales, and now he is he's just like one of raise hell, praise Dale. He's one of the top roof sales people out there. He makes money off just because he knows how to sell. So what's number 4 for us, the way we do it?
Demonstrate.
Demonstrate. Dale, what is one of your fact-finding questions that you teach people? What is a demonstration for us? Showing a house. Do you think the chances of getting a client completely changed at step 4?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because it's kind of like your stage, your opportunity to show if you're a professional or not by the way you handle the demonstration. Gives you the opportunity to stand out.
And if you do a good job there, more than likely they will use you. Number 5. I think we put the old trial close in there. And it's so important. I was saying this to you the other day. It's so important to know people's interest level. How do you know what their interest level is?
Yes.
You got to ask them. Just because they're saying, "Yeah, I like this. Yeah, this is nice." How often are we using on a scale from 0 to 10?
Every time.
See, I was thinking we need to get more clear on the 0 to 10 question. A 10, 0, hey, how on a scale from 0 to 10, Hayden, how much do you want this? 10 means you're ready to go right now. A 7 or above means you probably want it, but you're needing more information or need more clarity on something. Does that sound better than just on a scale from 0 to 10? I think they need to know the numbers, the thresholds.
I've been saying it is.
That's fact. That's also a fact-finding question, isn't it? Kind of.
I would say what I've been saying is 0 would
Pardon
be
me.
you wouldn't take it if I gave it to you, and 10 would be it's the favorite house you've ever seen.
That ain't good.
Sucks.
No.
That's what I was thinking.
No, the 10 part is no good.
Right.
Because it could be my favorite house I've ever seen, but it don't mean I want to do anything with it. It does not. It's not an actionable step. That could prevent you from getting into the close. Did you like it?
I didn't like it either. As soon as I said it, I knew.
Yeah, but I need you to understand why that does not
No, I
work.
do. I'm with you.
It's a good fact finding question, but a trial close, you're asking a question to kind of figure out where they are in the action. Is it the best? I would just say a 0 that I wouldn't take. I like 0, but 10 needs to be I want to do it now. Do you see the difference? Are you sure?
I'm sure, yeah.
Do you believe him? What is number 6?
Close.
Does anybody have a good closing?
Have you seen enough to make a decision?
This is where salespeople get extremely nervous because tension. The close is the most simple thing to do. As a matter of fact, our whole life we're good at closing other people, but for some reason, did we forget? Amanda says y'all forgot 5. Number 5 is a trial close. I don't think we forgot that. Did we? It's in there. A trial close. The difference between a trial close and just a closing question, Amanda, would be it's asking them a question to find out what their level of interest is. It's a question. Asking for a close is asking for a decision. There's a big difference there. Trial close is much safer than a close because I don't want to ask somebody if they're ready to close unless I'm pretty certain they're ready to do it. But salespeople get really, really funny whenever it's time to get them to ask for a decision. And what they end up doing is they start softening up the question. And it becomes unclear. You need the tension in there. I've asked Andre before to call people and say something. And he'll try to soften it up. But whenever you soften it up, you probably get a softer answer. It becomes muddy. It becomes unclear. Number 7. Follow up. God, that's the worst part of it. Who likes to follow up?
I love it.
Do you? Do you like to follow up?
I don't mind it.
Do you? I hate it.
I love it.
I do too.
No, that's the worst.
I want to close. As a matter of fact, if I could go from 1 to 6, that's what I would do. Hello, sign here. Hey, nice to meet you. Sign here. Hey, and we're in a world today where that's becoming more and more of a situation.
I'd say that's kind of the new normal because people don't really have realtors anymore. It's like your demonstration is everything. I feel like.
Hello, are you ready? Thank you. It's happening. The best salespeople out there can go through these quicker. If you're skipping steps, you could draw out the sales process. But if people can get into number 6, you've seen enough to make a decision. So all of this only really matters if you can get number 2 right. Number 2 for us is so important because the problem is in the information age, so many people get tricked. They hit your site, they show they're interested, but once they got a little bit of information, once you started telling them things, well, I like that. The consumer says, well, I like that, but that ain't really what I thought, or that really is not in my budget, or that really, a lot of times, it ain't enough to solve my problem. Whenever people call me and they act like they've got this solution to really solve my problem, and then they tell me, well, I can do this for about $300 a month. They called in and I told Van, you talk to them, but I don't trust these people at all. Because can $300 a month solve my lead problem? If $13,000 a month ain't solving it, how the hell can $300 a month solve it? But they were talking about how good they were. They were talking about conversions. We looked them up. What did we discover? Do you remember this, Van? Man, it was a just terrible reviews because $300 can't solve my problem.
What were they not doing? They weren't fact finding to solve what your problem is.
Well, they were just calling and pitching, but I know. Here's what I'm saying. People assume whenever you talk to me, we always assume, okay, let's go down. Let's go down in price. Let's go down in everything. But a lot of times to get me what I want, I need more. But how do you know this? He should have called, hey, how many salespeople you got? What could have been a good fact-finding question? $300? What is that? How's that going to help me? Hey, Tommy, how many salespeople do you have? But they call and they leave with, man, we can do all this, we can do all that.
And it's so cheap.
And it's so cheap. Whenever I hear that, I automatically think, well, there's no value here. So we go through our role play every single day, and we go from a greeting into a fact-finding question. Amanda, if you're still on here, what kind of fact-finding questions do you have? That's whenever you're really entering the sales process out of because everybody understands greeting. But what is one of your favorite, like if you were to talk to somebody and the guard was broken down and now it's time to do some discovery and find out what they want, like if you knew them, what would be one of your fact-finding questions?
Are you talking like a phone call or?
Either one. Just like if you're to talk to somebody.
I feel like the one that really, and I know this is so generic, but the one that really broke for me and Josh, whenever we first got good at calling people, was if you were going to buy a home within the year, would you be looking for something bigger or smaller? I feel like we made the best phone calls we've ever made using that, and Josh still uses it.
I do feel like that unlocks more people than anything.
Okay, so whenever Josh, well, let me say this so people can hear. Whenever Josh Benton gets people on the phone, after he gets an agreement for 30 seconds that we're trying to turn into 3 minutes, his first fact-finding question, and they're not prepared for this, is if you were to buy a house in the next year, would you consider something larger or smaller than you currently have? It's a very, very, a very basic question,
So different.
but it's different, and it makes them think. You get people's attention when you ask them a question. Like I've been talking to y'all for now about 22 minutes, and there's no telling what y'all are thinking about, right? But whenever I ask you a question, it's different. So you've got to be able to ask questions where people have not already answered this 100,000 times. That question has probably not been asked. They've never answered it. They listen different. They respond differently. Amanda, when looking for materials, if they're looking for durability or looks, do you like they install cabinets, tops, or just tops? I think it's tops is what Amanda.
I mean, I feel like that's a good question.
Do you like that question?
I mean, I feel like if you're looking at granite,
If you're looking at granite,
are you looking for durability or are you going for a look?
okay, what's the most important to you? The way it looks, or durability, or price? Because if Amanda just goes in there and she starts pitching one of her products, understand the danger of pitching the wrong product and trying to close on the wrong product. If you don't know what they want, if you can't overcome that one objection, and a lot of times they don't tell you the objection, do they? You've got to suck it out of them because sometimes they just may not know. Instead of it being a no, it's a no on this product, but you just hear no. Well, what would be a yes? What if we could find you something that was a little bit different? What is something that would be interested to get you what you want? What's your favorite fact-finding question?
If I'm on the phone, my favorite fact-finding question is, hey, I saw you're on here looking. Were you just browsing? Were you looking to solve a problem and find something soon?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you totally decide? Did you just totally change your mind about looking for a house?
Amanda, most people go for looks. So if I'm talking to somebody and I ask what's more important to you, the looks of it, like, hey, I like the way things look, or are you looking for longevity and durability? She said most people go for looks. Well, if we could find you something that's exactly the way you want it to look, how important is longevity to you? Because now I'm not going into price just yet, because if it's just about looks and they don't care about longevity, I know what that really means. What does that mean?
They're cheap.
They're cheap. So my fact-finding questions is to pull information out of you, but not just what they say. I need to know how to predict what they're saying. So she says exactly. So if I ask that question, hey, if I understand if looks are the most important thing to you, but how important is longevity? So now you need to give people options. Okay, so what do you think about how this looks? Then they need to see how it looks, and then I can show them prices. People need options. I think people probably need about 3 options: a cheaper one, a mid-level one, and a high one. And I think it probably matters the order. If you were showing somebody something to help them make sense, this is also in the demonstration, what would you show first?
Whatever's most important to them.
Well, if you're showing them 3 things,
The lowest one,
you'd show them the lowest one. Why did you pick the lowest one?
because they have a tendency to pick the last one that you show them.
Do they pick the last one if it's too much? The last one will help them make sense of everything. Does that? You'd show them the middle one?
Show them the worst.
Show them the worst.
First.
Okay, well, you get one of them is going to help them make the most sense of it. So Van picked the middle.
So are you talking if I'm showing 3 houses?
Yeah,
I'm picking the worst first.
or granite, or whatever. It don't matter. But see, I would show them something not very good, something that's middle, and something that's excellent. So, like if I see something that's excellent, but I'm like, damn, it costs that much money. Well, I'll just take this one right here. It helps me make sense of the value of the one in the middle. Or maybe it might help me make sense of the one that's the cheapest. Because if this one's $2,500, this was $5,000, and this is $7,500, this looks good enough at $2,500. I don't care about the durability. The one that made the most sense was the cheapest. Does that make sense to you? Man, it's just crazy how people's mind work. And I'm going to tell you all this story, and we're going to shut this down. This is how you should be pitching people. Yeah, the other day, we're in this little bit of a jam. I want y'all to follow along with this story, okay? We're in a jam. I'm in a bad jam where these people, they lost their deal, and it was really a shitty situation for them. And I went to this investor. I will not say the investor's name. But I knew if I went over there to the investor and asked if this investor, I won't even say if it's a he or a she, I went over there to the investor and I knew if I asked that person to do this, their mind automatically goes into sales skepticism to where they don't believe it and they just say no. So my plan was to go to this particular person and ask them, is this something that I should do? And I told this in a story to where I knew it would get their attention. Hey, I can do this. It's going to be this price. Y'all saw the price earlier. It's going to be around this price. And I mean, look, do you think it would sell at this? Yeah, I think it would sell there. Well, would this make sense for me to do? He's like, yeah. Hell, if you don't, I'll do it. Well, man, I was thinking about buying it. Well, hell, just let me do it. Well, can I list it? Yeah, hell yeah. Do you understand how that worked? In sales, too often we speed up and we go too fast.
Yeah.
But there was a clear strategy when I went over there. I didn't ask because you got to understand, I've taught you all a lot about this, of the way people's brain works. If you think about this, If you were to go play golf with somebody that you didn't know and they were telling you how damn great they are, what would your brain start looking for?
He's not that good.
Man, there's something inside your brain that is very counter to other people's statements. Does that make sense? I know this is voodoo that I'm talking to you. Do you understand?
Do you feel like we're just negative? Like,
What you chase runs.
we're wired to be negative?
It seems to convince people.
Our brain is wired to protect. It's there to protect, or like what you're saying, it's there to find fault. Does that make sense? Did y'all understand this little story? I went over there. Now, why did I present the idea like that to him?
Because you saying you wanted to do it made him want to.
No.
You to help him make sense of it, right?
I knew if he could make sense of it by telling me to do it, he would do it. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? So if I'd have pitched this idea and showed him, he's like, hell no. Hell no, I wouldn't buy that. Do you think I would even ask him?
You're right, I wouldn't buy it either.
Well,
See, I thought that was a shitty deal.
yeah, hell no, I ain't gonna, because he closed on it the other day. And my whole motive to go over there was to get him to do it. But I knew so much is made about the presentation. I didn't go over there. And if you ever want to get somebody's attention, don't tell them that you're doing this for them. You ought to call them up, man, I'm thinking about doing this, and I think you know a lot about this. Here's what I got. Is this a good deal? If they say it's an okay deal, what does that tell you? Probably not going to do it. Probably not going to do it. If they're like, hell yeah, that's a damn good deal, what would you say?
Probably gonna do it.
Well, if they say, hell yeah, that's a damn good deal, well, man, Drew, I'm going to try to do this. If I can't get the money right now, is this something you'd even want to do?
Hell yeah.
Well, look, just give me a little bit, maybe an hour or two, and I'll see if I can come up with the money. But we got to respond quickly. So, are you sure you'd be in on this if I can't?
Yeah.
See, that's how you create interest. You don't talk people into things. They got to talk themselves into it, because it's not them in charge. It's this part of their brain. This brain that makes this part of their brain that makes all these decisions that's really about fear and greed. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for watching. See you next Saturday. Hope you understand the importance of fact finding.